G'day, Mel James, James Buy Sell, Market in a Minute, 29th of February, the leap year day. So, how did the market go this week? Well, I suppose with all that talk, all that heaviness in the stock market, 10% crash, biggest since the GFC, the market we would have thought would have gone pretty average. And last week it was very average with clearance rates. I know the Domain had the clearance rate of 79%, but that just was not the case for our particular area of high-end Melbourne. The clearance rate last week was 59%. This week, the clearance rate was 81%. 81%. Bitterman last week we had down around here, it was 1.6. Today, it was a little bit higher, 1.8. When you're starting to get to 2, you're starting to look like you're really in a market that's really starting to move. But again, this is only 1 week. Supply, we had plenty of supply there today. This is one of the stronger weekends. So we had plenty of supply, and the clearance rate had gone from 59%. It was probably, I should have probably had it at blue last week. Now, 81%, that's in the red. Let's look a little bit more closely into what is actually happening in the market. Last week we talked about ducks, that is no or one bidder auctions. In other words, you need 2 for an auction, so if you've got nobody or only 1 bidder, you don't have an auction. Last week, 50% of the auctions were ducks. This week, nowhere near that, 25%. Only 1 in 4 of the auctions were no bidder auctions or 1 bidder auction. The big issue, the big interesting thing was that of the 42 auctions that we covered today, 7 of them were sold before. There was a lot more of the agents being on their game, and if they felt they needed to sell before because there wasn't that many people, then they did. Here's another one. Last week, the clearance rate, the under the hammer rate, in other words, properties sold in the street, was 33%. Not that great. This week, 50%. In other words, 1 in 2 properties sold under the hammer. That is a very, very strong hammer rate for Melbourne. And volcanoes. Volcanoes are a really good indication of whether the market's moving upwards or moving downwards. If you've got no volcanoes, the market's not rocketing. If you've got plenty, then yeah. Now, last week, 1 in 10. Didn't think that was going this well. This week, 2 in 10. 1 in 5. In other words, double the amount of volcanoes over an even wider number. I must admit I'm a bit surprised. Last week I was a bit surprised. I was thinking, oh, the market's probably a little bit stronger than what it actually was. This week, wow. I thought the market would be weaker than this, but it really hit some pace today. I'm Mel James.